Hey, guys, listeners. Hey, listeners. Wow, here we are, end of the show, huh? End of the season.
End of the season.
End of the show,
End of an
all
era.
15 seasons.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with it already.
Surprise, this podcast is only going to be about season 1. Hey, folks, we're here at the end of season 1. How about that?
What a journey it's been, honestly.
Okay.
Even just season 1 feels like we have gone on a journey.
Yeah. So, let's do a little retrospective, huh? I messaged you in September of 2020, and I said, no, here's what happened. You and I have known each other for, like, fucking 4 years now, which is wild.
Yeah, we met on the shoot server when I was in college.
Yeah, we met because of Person of Interest. And then
and objectively, a much better show than this.
Oh, hands down, objectively, much better show. We met through Person of Interest, through the ship shoot specifically. And then you've been watching Criminal Minds for a while, right?
Yeah, I got into Criminal Minds, I think my senior year of college, because I was trying to avoid doing my thesis.
That'll do it.
That'll really do it, huh? That'll really just like kick your ass into a comfort media you never knew you wanted, right?
I watched Criminal Minds for the first time ages ago because I liked a girl who liked Criminal Minds. So I watched the first 9 seasons because I think that was all that was out. And I immediately forgot about the show entirely.
So
and then, the crush faded, my hyperfixation faded. And then last year, 2020, I was working on my master's thesis. And I was cycling through true crime shows to distract me to just play on my monitor while I worked on my thesis. And then I went, well, I know Criminal Minds is fictional, but it's kind of in that same vein as the serial killer true crime stuff. And I remember there being a brunette that I really liked. I'll just watch it.
So true.
Yeah, it was Emily Prentice. I do not remember anything about Emily Prentice, from the first time I watched it, but I distinctly remember there was a brunette that I liked. She left the show. I could not get into the next brunette, and I dropped it. I would like to extend a formal apology to Alex Blake.
Yeah, honestly, apologize.
Honestly, I'm so sorry, Alex Blake. Fucking 20-year-old me was like, I don't know. Anyway. But so I rewatched it in 2020 while I did my master's thesis. Got obsessed with it. None of my friends would watch it. My wife wouldn't watch it. No one would watch the show, which, good for them.
You were posting so many gift sets on Tumblr. It was all my Tumblr feed was for a long time.
Yeah, because I got a new hyperfixation. So I was obsessed with Criminal Minds. No one would talk to me about it. There wasn't a Discord around that I could enter. Now there's a million Criminal Minds Discords, but there wasn't any at the time. Or there weren't any that I wanted to join. No offense. And then you messaged me to be like, oh, hey, I see you're watching Criminal Minds. And you just happened to message me when I was like, I need to talk about this show. I want to do a Criminal Minds podcast. None of my friends will even watch the show, humor me, and watch it. And you messaged me and I went, hey, ha, want to do a Criminal Minds podcast with me? And you went, sure, I've already got another podcast. Let's do it. And here we are a year later.
Literally, that was probably when this episode is coming out. I think this is about the time that we recorded that first episode. Because we recorded the first episode in late September, early October, and then didn't release it until December.
We had to record it twice, do you remember? Because I was using my wife's gamer headset, which I don't think...
true, the gamer headset.
Here's the thing. I would like to apologize to that microphone. I don't think it's a bad microphone. I think I'm just loud as shit. And it was right next to my mouth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is a true fact. That is a true fact about you. The fact nearly every time we record, I have to go in and be like, do you want to turn your mic down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm trying, bestie. I can't keep it in. Criminal Minds does things to me.
You're trying so hard, and I appreciate that.
I try my best.
This is our finale episode. This is the finale of season 1. This is not the last episode of Wheels Up season 1. I want to make that clear. Because we are going to be coming back and doing a bonus episode where we're going to put all the episodes of season 1 in ranking order to which one we liked best to the least.
Mm-hmm.
we're also going to be doing some other bonus content. It might be in the same episode as that. I'm not sure how that's going to all shake out yet, but we will be doing some other like bonus content and such soon. So don't worry, we're not dead.
No.
We're gonna do some bonus content for season 1, and then we're gonna take a little break and then come back for season 2.
Yes. Yep, we gotta keep going, or I will be 45 before we finish this podcast.
Yeah, we can't take too many breaks because Jesus fuck, there's 15 seasons of this show.
Yeah, and they're all like 22, 23 episodes long, right, Buzz?
Yeah, it's just like, man, y'all couldn't have made a shorter show. 15 seasons. Do you want to do our intro for one last time for this season?
Oh, hey B! Wow, what a good idea. Hey B, fancy meeting you here. Would you like to record the last episode of season 1 for Wheels Up, our Criminal Minds podcast?
Jay, I would love to talk about Criminal Minds season 1, episode 22, The Fisher King, part 1.
Yeah.
Weird. I can't think of any other show that does like part 1 as the finale.
Well, not just that, but like this part 1 was entirely set up. Like they really said, we're gonna set up a cool crime, and we are gonna end season 1 on a cliffhanger.
And
like,
then they disappeared for like a summer, and then would come back with part 2, and it's like, this sucks, actually.
I'm glad that shows don't do this anymore, especially because they tend to get canceled now. But like, God, imagine like you don't know if Elle is shot or if she shot the guy or what, and then it's just like now you have to wait 2 months to find out.
Not even that, it's longer. The Fisher King Part 1 aired on May 10th of 2006.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't come back until September.
Oh, that's
a fucking brutal break.
What is that? 4 months.
Yeah. Woo! That's brutal.
Damn.
I would have hated to be a Criminal Minds fan back in season 1.
Jesus Christ, I know. All right. I guess we could talk about the episode.
I guess.
I have some like vague memories of this episode. Like, one, the bar that we do trivia at is called Kingfisher, so it does make me laugh. Kingfisher's a bird, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's probably one of the reasons they called it Fisher King. I'm sure they'll explain, and hopefully in part 2 they explain why the fuck it's called Fisher King.
Well,
there were a couple of allusions to fishing, right? You have the trout quartet, or trout quintet, and then Aaron was like, Aaron, why do I keep calling him that? Hotch was like, 5 agents fishing. So you get this like fishing metaphor, kind of, but you don't really get like a description of why they're called Fisher King in part 1.
And it's also strange because they are trying to allude heavily to like Camelot and Arthurian legend.
Yeah.
Which to me doesn't immediately draw a parallel to the Fisher King. You know, like that doesn't track with me, even though I know objectively it probably is closer than I think it is. But I can't think of any other fucking Arthurian legend besides fucking Camelot and Excalibur.
I think it's the formatting, the Fisher King, you know, in the same way that you would say Hail Arthur King. You know, they would put King at the end of it. So I think that whatever Fisher ends up meaning, you know, I think that it's more about the way they are setting it up. Like, here is the Fisher King, you know?
Yeah, it's just so
yeah, it you don't know why it's called that
weird.
in this one. You know, I know a fair thing or two about you know, the Middle Ages, about that kind of stuff. One, because of my medieval hyperfixation as a middle schooler, and 2, because of my theater history masters. I put a guess down. I wrote a guess down. I don't remember what the book is, but I put a guess down of what I think it is. I'm sorry, we're gonna see if I'm right or not. I gotta
See.
be. If
We'll
it's not
see.
this, I'm gonna be one, real mad at myself, and two, they're wrong. If it's not this, they're wrong.
So
Sorry.
let's.
Okay.
Okay. This
So,
episode, The
mhm.
Fisher King Part 1. What goes
Yeah.
on?
So we start off with creepy house, like middle of the night, lightning, like ooh, spooky. Immediately they're like, this is our gothic episode.
Yeah.
You've got the house, you've got the dungeon, you've got the breakdown of the family structure with the girl being taken away from her parents and Hotch being ripped away from his kid. You get isolation, you get an aspect of the paranormal because it's spooky. You get
So
it.
spooky.
It's so spooky. Okay. So we are having our gothic Criminal Minds episode, Spooky House. We go into the spooky house, and there's a girl sleeping on a old-timey bed. And this guy goes to, like, well, someone's hand reaches down. And it's super, like, I wrote deformed, and I know that's not the right word, but it's all veiny and weird.
Yeah.
And
It's a weird looking hand.
yeah. Oh, I just put something together. He plays with her hand, and then he pulls out a knife, and it cuts to the BAU. That was when he was cutting that lock of her hair off.
Oh.
Right? He's like playing with her hair, then he cuts it, and then later we see a lock of hair. Right? I think that was what the knife was in that moment.
Huh.
I don't think
I
that it
didn't know
was
that.
like beating up. If you hear rustling this episode, I do apologize. I'm in somewhat of a lackadaisical position at the moment.
You're
Can't really do anything
recording the
about it.
finale of our podcast, the finale of season 1, like casually reclining on your bed.
My childhood bed.
Yeah, we have weird vibes here today, and that's why. It's because we're in all sorts of we're in a state here today.
We're in a state. We're in a different state. I'm in a different state today. Okay. Cut to Guantaco. I love the L. Morgan bisexual energy in this moment.
Bisexual broship, so true. I love them.
So L is like, oh my god, your friend in Jamaica, his resort, like it better be good. And Derek's like, it's not his resort, he's just the manager there. But then the rest of the show, they do just kind of be like, oh yeah, his resort.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then Derek
He's
says,
like, I'll be pedantic once and that's fucking it. The rest
right.
of the time, I don't care.
He's just the manager, yeah. But then Derek says, don't worry, this resort is off the hook. 2006. 2006. We're off the hook.
It's off the hook, baby.
Yeah. And then Al is like, there better be like fun. We better have fun. And Derek says there are gonna be young, beautiful adults looking to make vacation memories. And I paused, wrote that down, and went, that's vague. Pressed play, and Elle went, male and female, right? And Derek says, Elle, it's 2 weeks of pure heaven. Bye, wife energy. I got bye, wife energy.
The
So
way that they
funny.
have just like put these two as like, these are our two fun, like,
these are two sexy agents.
These are our two sexy ones. Both of them are very, very queer. Enjoy.
They also, I was so surprised they don't like flirt with each other. Like we could have had a fun like, when we're off of American soil, it doesn't count as fraternization, you know.
Instead of a hall pass, it's just like, we're off American soil, so like, let's go.
we're on vacation, doesn't matter. Okay, so then they find out the entire team has 2 weeks of vacation. And then Derek is like, I'm glad it's the whole team. If it was just us, they'd call us back. And okay, Elle says, why? They have other teams. And Derek says, you can go on believing that if you want to.
I think here he's implying that he's like, nobody else is as good as we are, so we're gonna get called in if some shit happens.
But
I also love how much it sounds like they're in like purgatory of like, I mean, you can keep believing that,
That's what I said. Elle is like, there are other teams, and Derek is like, but are there? Or is it kind of really? Just us just here? That made me laugh so hard. The idea that there like may be other teams, or there may not be. It's so funny. Okay. And then Reed shows up, and Derek immediately turns around and goes, "Pretty boy. You're looking forward to your time off?" And I don't know if that's our first pretty boy, but it is the most pronounced pretty
Pretty boy.
boy. Where are you going? I was like, oh, Derek, you're not on vacation yet. Keep that
You're
bi
not off
energy.
American soil yet, down boy. Come on.
It's 2006, you're an FBI agent. Keep that shit to yourself until you're out of the country. Come on. I wrote, um, oh, yeah. Derek is like, pretty boy, you sure you don't want to come to Jamaica for us? Like, even you can get a little lovin'. And I was just like, um, there's some energy in the studio today.
There was definitely some energy going on there.
Yeah. I wrote, read to home, sad face. He's like, no, I have to go see my family. Bye. And he just like leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I wrote, hot with family, smiley face. He has a long list of chores, and the only problem is which he's gonna do first.
He, by the way, I love Hotch's like energetic husband energy.
Hotch would love. It's like Hotch loves his family. He loves his child and his wife, and he loves being home and doing regular dad stuff.
Yeah.
But also no, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's like it's so weird because maybe it's just I don't know.
I
It
mean,
seems like a complete 180 for him, and I love that he gets to have this moment of like, I love going home and doing chores for my beautiful wife. Like, I love this.
I was like trying to think of like what the purpose of like I wonder if they just did it so that it would be such like a hard shift later, because like the rest of the time and in season 2 he does love his wife, and he does love his kid, and he likes being home, but he also like would rather be working, you know.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's really strange. The way that they did it, it like felt a little off to me, but at the same point I was just like, you know what? No, maybe he's just excited for 2 weeks of family time, you know?
It was also, this like came out of the blue, like wasn't it 2 episodes ago that Hotch was like, we need to get Reed a vacation, and Gideon was like,
Yeah.
what's a vacation? And then it's just like, surprise, everybody has 2 weeks off.
Everybody is literally fleeing the office, like running
Yeah,
out of there.
it was like, sorry, I was never under the impression that they couldn't take a vacation. It was more that they wouldn't take a vacation. So I was just like very confused as to why suddenly like they all don't want to be there. I don't know. Anyway, Gideon is like, yeah, I'm gonna go spend 2 weeks in the woods. Do not talk to me. But seriously, do not talk to me. Goodbye.
Which I love.
Yeah, it's good
He's
for
about
him.
to spend 2 weeks in the woods having a fun time.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then we get, so they're all having fun. And then we get this somewhat depressing realization that JJ and Penelope do not get a vacation. I thought it was funny because like for Penelope it's more like, yeah, she like does help other teams, she like does other things. But JJ, when Penelope is like, hey, I thought you had a vacation, JJ says, oh, I don't get the same time off as them. I have to make sure they have work to do when they get back. And I was just like, so is JJ exclusively with this team? It seems like it now. That's what they're kind of like cementing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then also, why does she not? She could get a week off. Like,
I think yeah, it's weird, but I think they sort of just imply that like she's on the same level of support staff that Penelope is, so they just don't get that much time off. And
it's
so she's
also
just like, actually, you guys, I'm gonna wait to take my vacation until all of you guys are fuck out of here. Like, I just want to have a week in the office of peace and quiet.
peace
Fuck
and
all
fucking
y'all.
quiet. Yeah.
Exactly.
But then also, I think it's interesting too because later when they're talking about the Trout Quintet, and Hotch says like 5 agents, fishing. That's Derek, L, Reed, Hotch, Gideon.
Yes.
He doesn't include Penelope and JJ as part
They're
of
not
like,
an agent.
yeah, even though JJ is an agent, but Penelope's not.
Not.
Not. I don't think Penelope's a civilian. They say later, but JJ's an agent, And also, but also they do all work together to catch bad guys. Like you can't say JJ. Like I mean, maybe she hasn't been on screen a lot, but she's got on every fucking case with them. It's like just
And
weird
later,
that
when the Fisher King is talking to them, their
he
quest,
includes
he's like, "This
JJ.
is your team."
Yeah, and
I
he
don't know.
names
Maybe
them.
Hutch just had a little misogyny moment, you know?
Well, he included Elle, but he was just like those two, the blondes.
Eh,
Eh.
eh. He had a blonde phobic moment, actually.
We're back, presumably at the house. We see like statues of knights and pictures of knights and medieval things and a court and like devils and things. And then it cuts to pictures of the BAU. The first one is like JJ giving a press conference, which like made me laugh. It was from the episode with it was from Plain Sight, that screenshot. Don't ask me why I know that. Don't ask me how many times I spent looking at pictures of JJ. That's a screenshot from Plain Sight. And then they showed a couple other ones. They had one from Elle only a couple episodes ago from I don't know, all of Elle's clothing looks the same, but it's like she always the same shirt in different colors
Yeah.
every episode. It's the exact
Hey,
same
she
V-neck.
knows that she works it. I'll allow it.
It's like
She
made me
knows that
laugh.
she looks good.
Yeah, she's like whatever. Oh, and then I laughed because all of them are from episodes except Penelope's. Penelope's is like not an episode we've ever seen. It's just her getting in and out of her car. And it made me
Yeah.
laugh because I think at this point Penelope has never been to a crime scene yet. So there's no way for the Fisher King to have a picture of Penelope. So they were like, we'll just take a picture for her like getting out of her car. I did think that was very funny.
I love that he was like, fuck, okay, I need pictures of all of them. All of them can come from crime scenes, whatever. And he's like, who the fuck is Penelope? He's like, all right, I gotta do another.
I just like love the idea of the staff being like, we'll just pull pictures from episodes. So they do, and then they're like, oh shit, Garcia's never been out of that room, huh? Like, I'm pretty sure we've seen her out of that room like once, and it was when Sean Hotchter came. Like,
Yeah, she was walking down the hallway to the room.
yeah, hilarious. Okay, so then he pushes like a PA system kind of thing, and he starts whispering like, "Dear, I'm going to have to go out. Stay here, and
Fucking weird.
I'll be back soon." But it like goes down through the floors, and there's like 3 floors that look exactly the same, and then the basement. And then you see that she like has chained ankles, and as soon as he stops talking, she's like screaming and yanking on her chains, like clearly like does not want to be there. I mean, who would be?
Clearly.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Criminal Minds. Very rarely do people want to be the places that they are.
Damn, that's a good point.
Like,
Okay. Montego Bay, Jamaica. Um, Derek and Elle sitting in their chairs, hot, sexy tanning.
God, they're just hot.
I know. It's rude.
Not to be like, wow, but also like, wow.
I know.
Women. And also men.
And also
Derek
Morgan.
specifically.
Oh, women and Derek Morgan, huh?
Listen, I'm gay. I can't be just like, I love men. But I can be like, I love Derek Morgan.
Derek's friend comes over and is like, hey, hi, how are you? Kind of flirting with, honestly, both of them.
Yeah.
And then
So true. Another bisexual king.
Yeah. And then Derek spots like 3 hot women on the beach, and he's like, oh, excuse me, I do have some business to attend to. And then he like goes to walk away and goes, oh, Elle, do you need anything from me? And Elle goes, no, like you go have fun. And he goes, haha, that's the right answer. And then he walks away.
They're just such besties.
I'm
They're
telling
just
you.
such besties.
So then like something like hits next to Elle, and she's like, huh? And it's a frisbee, and then this hot guy comes over and is like, hey, do you want to play frisbee? Elle literally like looks him up and down and is like, yeah, okay. And then like the next time we see her, she's like slow dancing with him at a club, like almost making out, but not quite. And then Derek comes over and is like, oh, are you having fun? And just goes, shut up. And the guy says something and she goes, shh, and puts her finger on his mouth and is like, don't talk. And then just starts making out with him. I was like, Elle said, Shh, you're a piece of meat. Quiet. Do not remind me that
Yeah.
do not remind me that you are a human person. Like, it's so funny.
It
It's
is. It's so funny.
it's just like, damn, I'll get it. But
She's just like, anyway, I like my men quiet,
I like
please
my
and
men
thank you.
silent. It's funny because we were talking about like what kind of boyfriend Elle would have. The answer is a silent one. Strong and silent.
Strong and silent type.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we cut to Hotch at home. He's like going through boxes in the garage, and he like pulls out a hat right as Haley comes in, and he's like pirate number 4, like in Pirates of Penzance. And he's like, I wasn't good, but I was committed. And Haley's like, yeah, you weren't very good, were you? Anyway, throw that hat out, would ya? And he's like, no, I can't throw the hat out. And she says, you have until this evening to give me a reason you get to keep it. And they're like, ha ha ha, and then they kiss. And then it cuts to the most fun Gideon scene.
I love this scene because he's just bopping and having a good time.
There's like
He's just having
like
the time of his life.
classical, like jazzy kind of music playing, and he's like chopping his onions, smashing his garlic, getting the sage, cans, things on the oven. And you like hear him like with his music, and like whatever. It's adorable. But then you hear like a beep, and you see him open a cabinet, and there's just a TV there with security cameras. He has 4 security cameras. Which was like, all right. And he even says,
Paranoid.
he says later, like, that was the only place I could go to feel safe, to just like forget the world and like pretend like everything was fine. But he does still have those 4 cameras there.
He is still a paranoid old man.
He is still very paranoid. Yeah. Okay. Fun music, dancing, cameras, cabinet. Okay. Then, oh God bless, we get to Penelope and what she's doing with her time. She's playing like Camelot.
She's playing basically off-brand RuneScape.
Yeah.
Is what she's doing.
Except like the way they show the game, there is no game that is like that. There's no game that would look like
Absolutely
that.
not.
Like that is like they're like cutscenes, but
Yeah.
of her talking and this other guy talking. So like that's not a thing. You can't like keep typing and then get a cutscene from it. Anyway, so she's playing with this guy and she keeps just being like, "Oh my liege," whatever.
And they're speaking in the dorkiest, dumbest fucking way possible.
I can't say anything about that because I do love that shit.
I know. I just think that it's so funny the first time we see a video game on this show. They're like, "Oh, the queen doth protest too much." Like,
thou art the prettiest lady in the land. Yeah.
Fucking nerds.
I know, and that's why JJ comes in and is like, what is this? And she's and Penelope's like, Camelot? I'm playing Camelot. And JJ's just like, okay, weirdo. Like, but then
fucking nerds.
Yeah, and then JJ is like, you don't know anything about this guy, or even if it is a guy. And I was just like, what kind of bi energy are we on in this episode?
This episode had such big bi energy.
Big bi energy. And the best part of BBE, big bi energy. That's funny. But I like though. So we've got 2 sides of this. One of JJ being like, you don't know if it even is a guy, and then she like makes a face that's like, Penelope, are you into women? Penelope writes.
I love the little like, do you want to answer that question, Penelope? And Penelope's just like, anyway. And Penelope I'm like, okay, like, gay skirting around the issue.
And but Penelope's answer is like, he and I show up online at pre-appointed times every week, and I have his undivided attention. He lavishes me with praise. Like, it's this and that. And then she goes, when have you had a date go so well? And JJ just has a moment of where she's like, well, hey, does he have a fictional brother? So funny.
uncle or grandfather?
Yeah, she goes, does he have a fictional brother? And Penelope goes, no, he doesn't. And she's like, cousin, uncle, grandfather, whatever. And just like leaves the room. And I was just like, the backtracking of like, maybe you're talking to a woman. And then Penelope's like, so you want to date? And JJ's just, we have the boys. I have boys, uncles, grandfathers, and just like dips.
She's just like, anyway, She's
Anyway.
like, I mean, I wouldn't mind being a gold digger. Like, I'm just saying, I would marry him for his money, and when he died, he died, you know?
If he dies mysteriously,
He
work
dies.
for the FBI,
Exactly.
Okay, then we cut from that very jolly scene to the Bennington Sanatorium, Nevada.
Yeah.
Which was like, oh, okay. Turns out, Reed's mother has schizophrenia. This is like the first time we hear about this?
This is also the first time we see Reed's mother, who is
Jane Lynch.
Who is just Jane Lynch, who is most famous, in my eyes, for being a crazy motherfucker on Glee. So...
Didn't we talk about how, like, she's on the show for a fair bit in the beginning, and then she just disappears, and then she starts coming back, and we realized that, like, the gap of Diana being so missing was when Jane Lynch was Sue Sylvester on Glee.
God. I'm sorry, just every time I see Diana Reed, I'm like, wow.
That's Jane Lynch.
It's Jane Lynch. I'm like, you're not Diana Reed, you're just Jane Lynch, who is Spencer's mom. Like,
this is a little bit of a tangent. You can cut it if you'd like. But there is a big theory about, it's kind of called, like, theatrical, like, haunting, where, like, characters are colored by the actor that portrays them. So, like, the example that I read was Kelsey Grammer was in King Lear. Is that true? Either King Lear or Macbeth. It was like a big deal. But there's a moment, so the play doesn't start off with I think it was Macbeth. It doesn't start off with Macbeth. So you have the first scene, and then, like, there comes Macbeth in his armor, and when he lifts his helmet, it's Kelsey fucking Grammer. And there's, like, a moment of, like, hey, Kelsey Grammer's Macbeth. Yeah, and it's, like, in every movie, there's always that moment where, like, the actor, like, has their back to the camera, and then they turn around, and it's, like, clearly a reveal. Hey, it's this actor, But it's the idea that, like, some characters are always going to be colored by who plays them, Like, at this point, like, Indiana Jones is just Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, So it's like that sort of thing. And I think that Jane Lynch just, God bless, she does suffer from a case of being Jane Lynch.
Yeah, it's the fact that she's just so Jane Lynch.
The thing is, though, I don't think she was famous.
She wasn't.
So I don't think people wouldn't have been like, oh shit, it's Jane Lynch. Maybe when she comes back, people would be like,
oh shit, that's Jane Lynch.
Oh shit, I didn't realize Jane Lynch was Spencer Reed's mom. But I think at this point in the show, that would have been fine. But when I see her, I'm like, oh shit, Spencer's mom is Jane Lynch. I mean, I imagine it's how people felt about, like, Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah.
When people were like, oh shit, Mandy Patinkin is in this show, Anyway, I honestly could not get past the fact that it's Jane Lynch. And for this whole show, I will not be able to get past that fact.
Yeah, no, we're gonna constantly be calling her Jane Lynch instead of Diana Reed. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if you are a fan of this show and also listen to Afterbite, my Vampire Diaries fan cast, there's a character on there, a one-off character who is played by Hayley Kiyoko. And I don't know what her character's name was. I only ever refer to her as Hayley Kiyoko. That's just Hayley Kiyoko. Sure, you were on one episode of the Vampire Diaries, but mostly you're just Hayley Kiyoko. That's why I know you.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, Jane,
and it's that same way.
That's, like, exactly correct. That's how I feel now about, like, Paget Brewster, but it's because of Criminal Minds. Like, I was listening to a podcast and they played a snippet of the, like, behind the attraction Disney thing, and Paget Brewster narrated it. She's the narrator of it. So when they played the clip on the podcast, I went, hey, wait a minute. Hey, it's Paget Brewster! Like, sorry, if I went to watch that documentary now, I would just spend the whole time like, hey, it's Paget Brewster.
Hey, do you know that that's Paget Brewster?
Hey, I'm listening to Paget Brewster talk. Like now everything she's ever in for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be like, I'm watching Patrick Brewster in this movie. Like I watched Community, and it was like, oh, it's my favorites, and also Patrick Brewster's there. You know, it's like the same
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
but reverse because Criminal Minds did that to me.
Jane Lynch is here, basically, is what we're getting at.
What we're getting on is
That's
Jane
what
Lynch.
that whole tangent was for, is that Jane Lynch plays Diana Reed, who is Spencer
Spencer's
Reed's
mom.
mother.
So Jane Lynch is sitting by the window, and Spencer's like staring at her from like a distance, and we find out that she has schizophrenia. We find out that Reed writes her daily letters. That
He's
like
such a good son.
rarely comes up again.
Yeah, it barely ever does.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think it does come up a few more times.
I think she has his letters later, but I don't think they're like, yeah, Spencer writes her daily letters. You know,
I think that's actually such a cute.
It's cute.
Be like, hey, I want every day. I want you to be able to get a letter. You know,
I've got a little something for you though. It wouldn't be daily letters, and you know why?
Because they're always on cases and shit.
No, because there's no post on Sundays.
Oh, so true. Fuck you. I think it's still so cute.
There's a joke from what movie is that? The Notebook. The guy, Ryan Gosling, writes her a letter every day, and there's 365 letters, and then someone went, yeah, but they don't deliver mail on Sundays, so they just get 2 letters on Monday. That's not as romantic. Anyway, he writes a daily letter. She talks about him all the time. She like talks about his like adventures on the cases, which I thought was interesting. And then you find out that she's a professor of 15th century literature, which like it's one of those things that like they definitely did that because of this episode, because I'm pretty sure she helps them in Fisher King Part 2. That's how they find out that it's the person that I think it is.
Yeah, Jane Lynch is in Fisher King Part 2.
Yeah. Imagine if they were like, they showed what was in this episode of her and then just like didn't bring her back for part 2.
That was it. Yeah.
That was it. He shows up, he can't bring himself to talk to her. Gone. That's it. You're like, oh, okay, Spencer. Yeah, so he shows up, he can't bring himself to talk to her. He just like hands the nurse administrative lady a book by Marjorie Kempe, famous medieval author, and then ditches. Great. Back to Jamaica. Oh, this is where they're dancing. Derek is dancing with that girl. Elle goes, don't speak. And then starts making out with her guy. Adorable. Sexy.
So true. I love that for her.
So true. Bestie. And then Hotch and Haley. Oh, Hotch is like sitting on the couch looking at, he calls it like reflections, but I'm pretty sure it's like a yearbook. Or something.
Yeah.
And Haley sits down and it's like adorable. And you can tell that Hotchick really like does want to be home more. Like he loves his wife, he loves his kids, he just cares about his job. So here's the thing. He says at the end of junior year he got his reflections book. But then like he says, how did I miss you for 2 years?
I think it's implied that she was in the grade below him.
Oh, right. Also, we do learn later that Hotch did go to boarding school for high school. So like,
Jay, I say this with love in my heart.
We have a fucking podcast about this. Maybe you could have.
This show's not gonna make fucking sense.
I'm just saying, I gotta point it out when it's bad.
Yeah. Wait, so he was at the junior year in 87.
Yeah.
Does that line up with
quick pause, math time. You're
yeah, I was gonna say, does that line up with
junior
everything
year,
else we've learned?
We know his birthday's in November.
Yep.
So junior year, so let's see, he probably started high school. I was in early October and I was a year younger, but if he's in November, he's probably a year older, or like the correct year, do you think?
I think he's the correct year.
Okay, so 1987, and how old are you in junior year? You turned 17.
You turned 17 in junior
end
year.
of junior year, so he'd be 17. So that means he is the exact same age as Emily Prentice. Again.
You're welcome.
1970. We've proved it across
That's
seasons.
his date of birth. He is the exact same age as my parents, which is weird to think about.
November 1st, 1970. That's Hotch's B-Day. He's only, hold on a second. He's 18, 19.
He would be 36 in 2006.
So at the end of junior year, Hotch gets his reflections book. He says that he was like looking through it and he walked past the theater club where they were rehearsing a play, and he like looked in and he saw Haley and he was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. And then he looked her up in the book and was like, how did I miss her for 2 years? And then Haley kisses him, and then she's like, fine, you can keep the stupid hat.
I love that this wasn't even him like trying to lay out a case. She was just like, I see why you want to keep the hat now.
That's
you can
cute.
keep
That's
it.
like fine. Also, like, how do you marry to someone you've never told them like that story? I don't know.
I don't know.
Does she not remember they were in that play? I mean, she remembered they were in the play together. I guess she just didn't know that he had joined the play because
For
of her.
her.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay, then they make out on the couch and you're like, oop, they're gonna do the sex. Cut to Gideon on his date, question mark. It is. A woman. She's like, he's pouring her a glass of wine and she goes, careful, I'm not responsible for what I do after 2. And I had the thought of like, when I'm in my 50s, am I gonna drink 2 glasses of wine and be trashed? Just like me.
I mean, it depends on the type of wine. Listen, I'm not saying that you should get fucked up on wine. I am saying that there is some wine that will get you fucked up.
Yeah, okay. If you say so. Okay. They do some cute slow dancing. It's adorable. Cut back to Hotch and Haley. Now they are naked on the couch. It is
They
later.
did in fact do the sex.
They
Congrats.
did in fact do the sex. It's later. The phone rings and Hotch picks it up and it says, don't waste time on the first victims. They're like bad people. Something. The youngest holds the key. Like help him save the girl. She's the important one. Weird. Then it cuts to Jamaica, and the friend who runs the hotel is like, I got an anonymous call that there had been a murder in room 19. You know, I saw the blood leading up to it. I thought I'd call the police. The police go inside. You see the blood everywhere. You see like a dead person's hand on the bed, and you're like, oh shit. Then it cuts to Penelope. She's playing her game, and then it just says game over, and then it starts saying all work, no play, over and over again, on all the screens, and it's a virus. And she's like, oh no, 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 no. It's like, okay, we get it, girl. Then
we
it
get
cuts
it.
back.
You're distressed by this.
We get it. This is bad. Then it cuts to Gideon's cabin. He's like holding this woman so weirdly while they make out. I was like, why are you holding her so? Like, stay. Okay. And then you hear the beep of like the motion sensor on his camera. And then he opens it and you see like a car coming, like a delivery truck, and then he turns around, he's got a gun and he's like, get in the bedroom. No one should be here. And then it cuts back to Jamaica and the blood is leading to another room and they're heading and you see room 17 and you're like, ooh, come back to Gideon. The guy gives him a package. There's a little envelope that says save her. Inside of it is a like laminated baseball card, Nellie Fox, 1963. Then he opens the package. The woman comes out of the bedroom. He opens the package. There's a human head inside of it. Yeah. Back to Jamaica. The blood. They open the door. It's Elle's bedroom. They like drag her out of bed. They're like handcuffing her. She's like, "Who are you? Who are you?" She's like pissed as fuck. Like,
as she should be.
As she should be. Also, I do love. Can I just say, I like that they didn't give her sexy pajamas. She's literally in like an A-frame and some shorts. Like they could have had her like naked or near naked or you know.
They could have had her much more debauched, and they were like, "No, Elle Greenway's a classy motherfucker. She could just wear a tank top."
She is still wearing her makeup from the night before. She literally said, like, I had sex. I go back to my room. I put my pajamas on. I go to sleep. She said,
I love the fact that she left and she was like, I'm not spending the fucking night. I am going back to my room. Thank you very much. I would love my space. Thank you.
Later they asked her, like, what time did you go to bed? And she's like, I don't know, midnight. And they were like, were you alone? And she was like, when I got back to my room, yeah. It was like so funny. She literally like had sex. She was like, don't speak. Had sex with this man and then went, thanks. And just
bye.
Bye. Went back to her. But the other funny part, right, is when she's dancing with him, Derek goes, I'll see you tomorrow. And she goes, afternoon. But she didn't stay with the guy. They had sex and then she was asleep by midnight.
She is finding another guy in the morning. I'm just saying. She's like, don't try and talk to me before noon. I'm gonna have a little morning quickie and then we'll talk. That's it. That's what it is.
And you know what I imagine Elle's plan was? Have sex with the guy, go to her room, asleep by midnight, wakes up, goes back to the guy's room, knock, knock, knock. Good morning. More sex. Back to the room for a shower. She said, I will have sex with you twice. I will not sleep in the same bed with you.
And you know
As is
what?
her right.
As is her right. So true, queen.
Yeah. Cut to Gideon. Gideon's like, woman, get in the car. He doesn't say woman. I don't know what her name is. He's like, get in the car. I'll take you home. And then the guy that's like looking at the box is like, hey, by the way, do you know anyone in Jamaica? The package is from Montego Bay. We know that that's where Ellen Derrick is. Gideon does not know that's where Ellen Derrick is. Gideon says, no, I don't fucking know anyone in Jamaica.
This is the most in character Gideon has ever been. He's like, I don't fucking know, dude. Why do I know where people are? He doesn't know they're in Jamaica.
You know anyone in Jamaica? And he goes, no, I don't know anyone in Jamaica. And then he gets in the car, and then it cuts to Elle in the interrogation room in Jamaica.
Which is so funny.
Yeah. And he's like asking her all this stuff. She's like, I'm an FBI agent. I'm here on vacation, man. That's what Elle says. I'm here on vacation, man. And then they show Elle the picture. Somebody, I guess, in her room above her bed had written blood, save her. And Elle is like, oh shit. And then it does the thing where Elle like picks up the photo to look at it, and it zooms into the room, and now we're in the room with Derek. And I just want to say, it had been a minute since they did that. And I forgot that was a thing Criminal Minds does. And then all of a sudden, like, the frame of the picture was moving, and I was like, what is happening? I like literally had a moment of like, whoa, we're going into the picture. Like,
you like forgot that the magic was there, and you were like, oh,
yeah.
Experiencing it new for the first time, like a child who gets to see something cool. You're like, whoa, a magic trick.
I was like, whoa, the screen is expanding. Like, anyway, then we're in the crime scene with Derek, and the policewoman is sitting there. The policewoman is there, and she's like, hey, buddy, I don't give a fuck that she's an FBI agent. The blood led straight from the killer's bedroom to her bedroom. Like, what do you want from me? And you know what? She's right.
She's completely right. And I think Derek realizes that she's right. She's like, would you want me to not like apprehend the person who's at the end of the trail of blood?
Yeah.
And Derek is still kind of shitty about it. He's like, I mean, yeah, but why is there no blood in Elle's room in that case?
Yeah, which is a good point.
Which is also a good point. I like that he's like, yeah, fair, fuck it.
Yeah. And then like his friend shows up and tells them that like, hey, the guy was actually with somebody else in the adjoining room. And the policewoman goes, why are you telling him that?
Which again, so true.
So true. And he's
God,
like,
the women this episode.
I know. He's like, you're right. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. And then
then speaks only to her, even though Derek is still standing right there.
Yeah, which I do appreciate. Derek kicks. They're like, oh, he was in the adjoining room, so they're like, let's go. Derek kicks the fucking door down. There's nobody in the other room.
The room is like, completely spotless.
Yeah, and then Derek calls Penelope, who answers and goes, what? And then
she is in the midst of like dismantling her computer. She's gonna wipe her shit. She's gonna crush those hard drives. She's
got a honey pot.
The hacker thing of just bugging it out, dude.
She's got a honey pot behind a 16 kernel magnet and then a honey network, and his hard drives are toast. But
which I love that we finally got to. She finally got to do her hacker speak, and I'm like, okay, sure, so true, so true, girl. Talk about those kernel packets you've got in the honey net, and
about that honey net.
She's like, if I have to track his IP back to the fucking Stone Ages, I will. And I'm like, so true, queen.
So true. The worst part, though, like, not only is it like she was stupid and did this on the internet, whatever, but like, it was like it's unmistakably that dude she's been flirting with. You know,
unmistakably,
which is kind of like, God damn it, I fell for the flattery. Like,
but also, here's the thing. I don't know if it's entirely Garcia's fault, because we learned this later that the only reason he got into the FBI network is because she hooked up her laptop to the
Wi-Fi.
to the Wi-Fi. It is not her fault that the Wi-Fi had no controls on it whatsoever that stopped him from jumping from point A to point B. If she never hooked her laptop in, that's not entirely her fault. That's FBI cybersecurity's fault, honestly.
That's true, and she's not cybersecurity. We learn later.
And but also it doesn't make sense that she had much less protection on her own laptop. That doesn't make sense, really.
I know. She uses her laptop
that,
later to proxy into the FBI servers. So it doesn't make any sense.
She absolutely would have that much security on her own laptop, but it's fine, whatever. They didn't realize that she was a very insanely good hacker yet, I guess. But also, it's not her fault.
No.
Because anybody could walk up to a laptop, anybody could infect an FBI agent's laptop that was unsecured. I doubt the rank and file of the FBI has a laptop that's more secured than Penelope Garcia's.
She can't be the only person in the FBI who also
uses
brings a personal laptop.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so even if someone had a work laptop and they took their work laptop home, even if they used a proxy server or whatever, they're still connecting to their home Wi-Fi. So if they then brought their computer back and connected, because that laptop, even if you connect to the FBI Wi-Fi, that laptop is still going to use the same proxy server to connect to the servers. So it's literally anybody with a laptop who connected to another Wi-Fi and then came back runs the same risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's... I hate when people are mean to Penelope Garcia because it's not her fucking fault, especially this episode.
But I feel so bad for her because he's like, hey, I need you to run something for me. And then she starts... she's crying.
Yeah.
Actual real tears, crying about it. And she goes, so no, I can't. Hangs up.
And then it's just oh, baby.
I know, I thought it was baby. Okay, so then Gideon gets the BAU, and we get JJ with the recap. Hotch got a phone call. Elle's in jail. Hotch is on the way. Derek is also in Jamaica. Here with these two guys that we think maybe. You have a head in the box. You got your baseball card. There's no forensics. Came back on the card. We learn. So JJ, I like that JJ is okay, we've had a lot of really short, quick scenes. Let me give you a little rundown of what's happened so far in this episode. I did enjoy that. So then Gideon's going to his office. The guy stops him and is like, hey, we ran the card. There's no forensic evidence. And they're working on the head. And then the guy walks away and Gideon goes, hey, looks after JJ and then goes, hey, wait, tell them to check Jamaica tell them to check Montego Bay, Jamaica, if there's any headless bodies.
Because they have a body without my head or without a head or whatever, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So JJ telling him all of that made him make that connection, and I was like, good for you. Okay. I said L with quotation marks, no makeup in the interrogation room. It's very much like last night's makeup, but it's clearly she's got her eyebrows done,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hotch comes in. Oh my god, this is so cute. Hotch comes in and immediately takes his suit jacket off and gives it to Elle to cover herself,
which is so cute. Thank you, Dad Hotch.
Thanks, Dad Hotchner. And then Derek's in the doorway, and Hotch basically says look, your morgue shows that the man has been dead for more than 24 hours because of the food in his stomach, and this and that and this. And Elle was not in the country.
Basically, Elle wasn't in the country when this guy was killed, so we'll cooperate with your investigation, but we're taking her home.
Yeah, basically, they will help with this investigation. They will do it from Quantico, Virginia. And then the guy gives the key, and Elle fucking snatches it. Also, Elle went to bed with her gold armband on. She's still wearing that stupid armband, and I was like, Elle, girl. She's in her necklace. I was like, Elle, girl, you really said, I just got fucked 6 ways to Sundays. I will think about this tomorrow. I just went to bed.
So 2006, though. I love it.
I'm obsessed with that. Okay. Now. Oh. So we finally get to see, I think this might be the first time we see the inside of JJ's office.
Yeah.
There are 10 stacks of files. One of them tilted on top of a printer. She has 2 lamps, some awards on the shelf, her degree is hanging, a corkboard full of notes and nonsense, 2 family pictures up, and then a plant. And it's the messiest office on the planet. I love that we have seen Hotch's very neat office. We have seen Gideon's like messy, but messy because he like puts things down and leaves them for later.
Yeah.
JJ's office, I mean, it is comical the amount of files that are in her office. We don't even know what JJ does yet.
But we know it's important.
But clearly, it's like right now, all we know is that JJ talks to the reporters, talks to the media. Sometimes she'll make like case packet files. That's all we know that JJ does. And yet her office is bonkers
Messy.
bananas.
Also, don't they change later when we see her office later? Don't they change the direction that her desk goes?
No, no. So what they change is right now it's kind of like in the middle of the room. They push it up against the window.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They push it
Yeah.
up to one side, and so she enters her desk from the other way. I like saw that, and I'm like, wait, you don't enter your desk from the left.
Yeah,
You
she
enter
like
it from the right.
she like walked in the door and like entered from the left, and I was like, why is your desk in the middle of the room like that? No, later they do. Later they do push it to the side. But it stays just as messy. There's an episode in season 3 where I can't spoil it, but Garcia comes to talk to JJ. Office is a fucking mess again, and as they talk, Penelope is like putting pens back into her cup holder, is rearranging JJ's desk for her, and I just want to say ADHD JJ writes.
Yeah,
ADHD
honestly,
JJ
like so true. Me
writes.
too, Queen. I don't know shit at all ever. I do though fucking love a messy desk.
I love a messy desk. Okay, so she gets a package. She's like, oh, weird. It's a butterfly in a shadow box, pinned, and it says she has been searched for yet never found, which is like,
Yikes.
yikes indeed. Okay, cut to Reed on his way to visit his mom. Somebody left a package for him there. It's a key, pum pum pum. And then there's a note that says, the note says, she will die unless you save her, Dr. Reed. Call Gideon, he knows. Cut to the cuts in this episode.
There are so many, and it is so unnecessary.
They really sent them. They read, we will separate the 7 of them, and we will cut between them constantly.
It's so fucking annoying too. It's like, I get it, you're cutting between these guys because, like, you know,
a lot's happening at once.
A lot's happening, but also,
I hate it.
This feels like
I hate it.
You never get your feet under you in a scene before they're like, anyway, we're heading over here now. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, and I think
that's
what we're talking about, that this episode feels so weird. It's like it went by so quickly because it's a million short, tiny scenes, and there's a lot of information to keep track of, which I think is kind of the point. But also, like, I'm the audience, I should know what's happening. But also, nothing happens in this episode.
It's so poorly paced.
This episode is literally just like them getting clues, and then like twist at the end, and you're like, okay. So now I gotta wait 4 months for
Yes, and I have to wait for 4 months until it comes back, I guess.
Until it comes back, I guess. Hope it doesn't get fucking cancelled. Okay. JJ goes to JJ goes to Gideon's office and says, I got a weird package. And he goes, weirder than a head in a box. And she goes, hands him the box with the butterfly and goes, so that's a pale, clouded yellow butterfly?
I love how she's just like, yes, fuck you. Anyway, I got a butterfly.
He goes, weirder than a head in a box? And she's like, yeah, I got this butterfly pinned with a weird ass quote on it. The butterfly's indigenous to Europe, mostly Britain. And I just like was like laughing. I was like, yeah, that's a weird ass package to get, huh? A head in a box is like weird, but also you're like, FBI. She got a pinned butterfly.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, I get that the head is objectively worse and weirder because, like, somebody died. Oh, darn, hate that. But also,
but the head is in context.
Weird butterfly and a cryptic quote, okay? You got a baseball card and a head. Chill.
Chill. Okay, we cut to the blonde woman. She's, like, coughing in bed. Oh, she's sick. Okay, great.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. Oh, dang. Elle, Hotch, Derek enter the BAU. Hotch is like, don't you guys want to go home and go to sleep? And both of them are like, no, absolutely not. And he's like, okay, can't stop you. JJ shows up and goes, all right. So Marty Harris is the dead man, head and body. Frank Giles was the guy that he was with in Jamaica. So we find out that Frank Giles took a red eye to Florida and then flew from Florida to Arlington, Virginia. So his rap sheet, criminal record, is for manslaughter, rape, and robbery. And here's the thing, right? Elle goes, "Oh, he's from Virginia. He's from Arlington." And JJ goes, "We don't know where he's from, but I do have his entire criminal history." And I was just like,
Yeah, like,
"Sorry, you
no.
have his criminal history. You don't have like a where he's from." They also don't make any effort to be like where they're getting this because Garcia's computers are down. They
So I
don't.
guess it's just some other researcher that they pulled
Kevin.
up. It's Kevin.
It's Kevin Lynch.
We just don't know him. We feel his ghost presence.
Ugh, fuck Kevin Lynch. All right. Marty Harris, the victim. He was a child sex offender and a fetish burglar. So Hotch quotes the phone call that's like, forget about the first victim. And then he goes, I mean, they also said her. You must help him to save her. And they're like, well, who's him? And Gideon just goes, Reed. And then walks away. No explanation. Great. Now we're in the briefing room. Yeah, it's like, okay. Now we're in the briefing room. We had a little bit of a longer scene.
They finally don't cut every 30 seconds. So, you know. A win for Us Nation.
A win for Us Nation, indeed. Hotch says, we have an unrepentant psychopath trying to draw us into his game. So they're like, we're going to write the clues on the board. I wrote down the clues because JJ takes them 1 million years to write the clues down.
Yeah.
It's a Nellie Fox baseball card from 1963, a head in a box, and then the body, a rare butterfly in a shadow box, the repeated messages to save her, and Reed has a skeleton key. Derek says it's super weird of the unsub to reach out. Normally they don't like drag us into the fantasy because it's sexual. They'll like taunt us because of power, but like actually including us is like super weird. So then Gideon says like, you know what else is weird? This baseball card. Because Nellie Fox was on the White Sox team, and Gideon went with his dad like all the time to see him play. Like Nellie Fox was Gideon's hero. And JJ says, I mean, I collected butterflies as a child, as a girl. That's why I knew what the type of butterfly was, where it's from. So they're like, okay, so he knows us. Like, they gave us something personal. And I was like, I got a police raid. And Hotch goes, I got an anonymous message. Also, I would like to call out the racism of this man. Derek did not get a cryptic message.
I know. God. He deserves a cryptic message.
He deserves to be targeted. They literally, I don't mean that. Obviously. But I was watching this whole episode and I was like, why is nobody mentioning how Derek did not get a clue? Like, I guess you can count his with Elle, but he didn't talk to Elle. Like, he wasn't with Elle. He didn't get arrested, too. Like, I was just like, why is nobody mentioning how Derek didn't get anything? That feels like a clue that Derek got nothing.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, I write Penelope Garcia as PG, and I almost did just say, Pajama knows the location. Jesus. Pajama is with the G. No, it's with the J.
No, it's not. Jesus Christ.
What
a finale episode.
Yeah, what an episode. Penelope Garcia says that the guy knew their location because of the computers. The hacker got into the personnel files, which had the room ID and Gideon's address, because it's important for them to know where the FBI agents are at all times. And then I wrote Garcia sad face. She is still crying. She got into the online game.
And Garcia gets yelled at here, but
Gideon is like, how could you be so stupid?
Yeah, exactly. As though, number one, as though Gideon knows at all how this could happen.
Oh my God,
he's
Gideon doesn't know anything.
73.
He won't even look at a computer screen.
Exactly. Number two, again, we've talked about it. It's not entirely her fault, technically.
No.
The way that they said that this happened is not her fucking fault.
No.
I'm fucking pissed.
No.
I'm so fucking pissed. Justice for Penelope for this episode.
You can't
Justice for Penelope for every time she gets fucking yelled at, honestly.
Also, you can't tell me Penelope Garcia doesn't at least use, a fucking VPN.
Yeah!
Are you telling me she really, doesn't use a VPN? If anything...
When she's connecting on her...
FBI. I mean,
network?
even, I mean, she's not, stupid. Yeah,
they just made her seem like she doesn't know shit about computers, and then they listed a million reasons why she absolutely knows shit about computers.
It's
when
wild.
She's talking about how she has a fucking honeypot ready to go for this. Right. Also, if she had a fucking honeypot ready to go, why didn't he get caught in it the fucking first time?
I know. Why didn't he get caught? And it's interesting because, like, in season 3, somebody else is at her desk using her computers, and she, on a personal laptop, is proxied in, stopping them from getting into her computers. So, like, why in this episode is it just like, yeah, brah, this dude connected to the Wi-Fi and now he's in the FBI systems? Their systems should be better than that.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me? Are you telling me the fucking FBI? Like, I get hackers are creative and they're great at what they do. Sure, cool. The fucking FBI got brought down because of an unsecured Wi-Fi network?
You're telling me
No.
that if I connect my iPhone to the FBI Wi-Fi and then download a sketchy app, I can bring down the government?
God, I wish it was that
I
simple.
wish it were that fucking easy. Okay. Anyway, that's a joke for legal reasons. That's a joke.
For legal reasons, that is a hypothetical joke, funny thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
So, she's like, I know who the hacker is. It's Frank Giles in Arlington, Virginia. And they're all just kind of like, did you say Frank Giles? Cut to the FBI going to Frank Giles' house. Elle and Derek are there. Derek does kick down the door. Inside, they find Frank Giles dead with a sword in him. And on the wall in blood is written, Here thy quest doth truly begin.
I love that they're like, that they have no reaction to the fact that there is a sword in this man. They don't talk about the fact that he was murdered with a fucking sword. They're just like, wow, weird writing on the wall, huh? Like, bro, that's a sword!
Yeah. They literally just keep being like, what's this weird old-timey language? Doth thy. Weird. Anyway, what does the sword have inscribed on it? It's like
this sword that is embedded through this man. They
Through
make
the
a
bed.
point to show you under the bed to see the blood on the sword and then follow that up. And yet nobody's like, what's the significance of the sword?
so funny.
Like, what?
Yeah. There's also
This fucking show, dude.
I love it. I mean, I hate it, but I love it. There's a bag of money in the room, so like it's got to be about the unsub didn't take the money. Clearly he likes to write messages in blood on walls. The woman, there's a
You know, clearly, like that's a normal thing. Sorry, I'm just fucking pissed.
Yeah. I like that they're all like exhausted. So everything that should be like high key, they're all just kind of like, great.
Wow, wild. Sword murder method? We haven't seen this one before. No, you haven't! The sword should be a bigger deal!
Yeah, it should be.
I'm sorry, I'll stop yelling about it.
No,
Still.
get it, girl. Okay. The technician is like taking notes, making bags, and then she goes, "Hey guys, there's something etched into the sword."
The technician whose name is Gina, this is the one and only time we learn a technician's name, and it's just Elle going, "Thanks, Gina."
When she spoke, I went, "Oh, a union extra." Oh, girl, you're allowed to speak on camera. Hell yeah, speak on camera, say your lines.
Also, it's so funny that they just used she's not credited as Gina. Her name is just Gina Garcia. That's the real person's name. So they were just like, thanks, Gina.
I wonder if they just like did a take and Lola was just like, yeah, thanks, Gina. Oh shit, we'll keep it. Like they're like, oh yeah, give her a name.
I love get that union paycheck, honey.
They that wait, if everyone is standing around like this, no one's gonna really notice the sword. Hey, Gina, why don't you grab a pair of gloves and one of those jackets and come be a technician for us? Thanks. Like literally, it's so funny. Okay. The woman's like, there's something etched in it, and I didn't write down what exactly what it said, but it's basically like, leave the sword in the bed until the hour be none. And they're like, hour be none? And Reed just goes, 3 p.m. He's there now. Reed is there now.
Hey, sorry, not to go back. I just looked on Gina Garcia Sharp's IMDb page and I found something wonderful. Can I tell you?
Yes, please.
She starts as, like, this is her first appearance as, like, a CSU tech, right?
Yeah.
However, later, she comes back. She's in, like, 12 episodes across the course of the series, and she gets promoted. She's now like CSU Agent Sharp, and then she's like, and then she just gets promoted to agent.
She just becomes an agent.
Like, She becomes an
Okay,
agent.
we
I'm
have
so
to keep
happy
an
for
eye
her.
on this. We have to keep an eye on this woman.
I'm so happy for her and her promotion.
Save a picture of that woman. We will keep an eye on this woman's career. I love.
Literally.
I bet you this is one of those things where that she was like a first AD or something.
She worked in the
lighting.
casting department.
Okay, so
apparently.
great. So she was just there overseeing things. Or they were like, oh, you know, it'd be funny if we just cast you as this person. You know?
Yeah.
So she was like, sure, cast me. So then, but then every time they were just like, oh, we should bring Sharp back, but this would make her an agent. And then it's like all the way they just were like, hey,
Literally,
Gina,
I
you want
sent
to be
you
in
a
another
picture
episode?
of her thing, and she literally gets promoted, and I love that for her.
That is.
She's like, let's tell a story with this.
Oh my god! From 2006 to 2020, she's in the last episode as Agent Garcia Sharp.
Yeah.
That is CSU Tech Agent Sharp, CSU Tech Agent Sharp, Gina Evidence Tech Gina, Agent Sharp, Agent Gina Sharp. That is so funny. But the thing is I'm looking at these episodes. I know them.
Hit and run. I know
it can't be the same person. Like it's the same actress, but like the character cannot be the same character in every one of these episodes. Because in the big game, they wouldn't be in Virginia. The big game, they'd be in Atlanta.
That's when she becomes Agent Sharp. Come on, she got moved around for her promotion.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was a huge tangent, but I had to go. I had to go back and share that when I found it. That's fucking insane. I fucking love this. We also get the first appearance of Agent Anderson this episode.
We do.
And he's so cute.
Is this the first? We've talked about him on this podcast before. I think he was like, here's the thing that you needed a paper. I think he did that once before.
Yeah, I think so.
So
he's also, by the way, he does more producing now. He produces the Real Housewives series now. Just so you know.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
You know what's fascinating? Hollywood.
Hollywood's so weird. Reed is just here.
Yeah. He quotes like the medieval times. I didn't write them down. Then he asks,
quotes some fucking bullshit.
Well, they used to divide the day into 4 times as opposed to the hours that we're in. So when the hour be none is 3 p.m. in current times. He asks Gina for a light, and this is where Elle goes, thanks, Gina. And she goes, oh, no problem. They shine a light on the sword and mimic 3 p.m. They find the hollow wall. Inside of it's a box. It's locked. They use Reed's key. It's a music box. The Trout Quintet. This is when Hotch says, 5 agents fishing. And the quote in the box says, never would it be right, but always clear day to any man's sight. And Elle goes, well, that was worth it. Just love. Elle is we went through all the trouble to find the box, and there's just a note that means nothing. Okay. She goes, well, that was worth it. But in the lid of the box is a lock of blonde hair and a CD that says, Thy Quest. Okay.
And she's just like, oh, great.
I know. Here's the thing. They yell at Penelope for all the shit that they say she does, and then they play this DVD at the FBI. On an FBI computer, they play this DVD. That's gonna give you a fucking virus.
Exactly. I just
it cuts to them playing this in the briefing room, and I was just like,
did somebody scan this? Is this a secure line right now?
I was like, I hope you didn't put that in a computer. Fuck.
Justice for Penelope.
Justice for Penelope Garcia. Okay. They see that the dude's limping, so okay, he's injured. He shows the trapped woman, and he basically is okay, here's there's one rule to this game. Only the BAU team can participate, and he names them. Jason Gideon, Spencer Reed, Derek Morgan, Jennifer Giroux, Elle Greenaway, Penelope Garcia, and he shows the pictures. And again, it's all screenshots from previous episodes, and Penelope getting out of her car. Great.
So true, Queen.
Yeah, so he's I'm about to send you one more clue, and there's a book that inspired many tales like this one. I guessed that it is Chaucer and the Canterbury Tales. That was my guess.
Is that the one that...
It's the one that has, the baker's wife. It's the one that has, like the three men that die in the forest because of greed. I'm pretty sure it's got a story in it about a fox.
Does it have is that what the Camelot story comes from, or like the main, like the Knights of the Round Table and the Holy Grail thing?
I don't know that there is
Specific
a
book that
King
comes from?
Arthur's legend. I mean, there is. It might be a Canterbury Tale. The Canterbury Tales are like a Middle English
Mm-hmm.
book, that has a bunch of different stories in it. It's basically like a collection of tales of the time. So
Yeah.
it might have a King Arthur's Tale in it. I only know a few of the Chaucer's Tale. Again, there's a lot of them, and they're in Middle English, so you can only read them translated anyway. Not
So
so Shakespeare speaks modern English. Chaucer and the Canterbury Tales are in the English that comes before Shakespeare. It's in Middle English, so it's
okay.
basically a different language.
Yeah. So my guess for what book it is whatever the Holy Grail appears in, because I feel like I kind of vaguely remember a Holy Grail reference.
Let me see.
Because he
Original.
calls
Well, I mean, he talks about knights and shit.
Yeah, I think it's more based off of Arthurian legend. And nobody talked about the fact that there was a fucking sword in that dude, like Excalibur. I'm just fucking pissed. I feel like they should be focusing more on the fact that there's a fucking sword. It's King Arthur, it's Excalibur, it's the Knights of the Round Table. And the only Knights of the Round Table story I know is fucking the Holy Grail. That's the only one that I know.
Oh, you could be right. It could be in that the original Arthur legend, like the one that kind of got people interested in him, comes from Geoffrey of Monmouth's Historia Regum Britannia, which is the history of the kings of Britain. Yeah, so it's kind of like the original, but I feel like they wouldn't mention that Reed's mother does 15th century literature unless it was like important. There's a 12th century writer, a French writer, Troyes, who added Lancelot and added the Holy Grail to the story, because originally it was just kind of like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. So, I mean, it depends, but like I don't think they would go back to like the 11th century or the 12th century. Like that feels too far back. But that is when the Crusades were happening. So let's see. Medieval literary traditions. We have Geoffrey of Monmouth. I'm just trying to see if it's in Chaucer. I just like if they're going to name a famous old timey book, like the Canterbury Tales feels.
Yeah, that feels right if they're gonna name an old timey book.
Or the Historia Regum Britannia, which is like enough that you're like, oh. And they already used the Canterbury Tales in Criminal Minds because in Plain Sight, the guy is quoting a monologue between death and a lady, which is a story from the Canterbury Tales. So I just think
you might be right.
I just think it all ties together. It's 28 stories published in Middle English between 1387 and the 1400s. So the Pardoner's Tale, the Wife of Bath, the Miller, the Knight, the narrator. So like he has a whole story, the Knight story in the Canterbury Tales. So there's a story about the knighting in the Canterbury Tales. So I mean, that's my guess.
Perfect. I want to remind people who are listening to this podcast who did the logical thing and watched Fisher King Part 1 and 2 back to back is that we have not watched Fisher King Part 2 yet as of recording this podcast.
No.
If we're right or if we're wrong, we haven't fucking watched it. We're going off of what they told us in the fucking episode, just like Spencer Reed would be. So if we're right or if we're wrong, either way, we're making an effort. We're making we're giving it the good old college try. So don't you dare fucking step to us and be like, God, I can't believe you guys didn't remember that it was X book. I don't give a shit. This episode came out when I was 8 years old. Go fuck yourself. Stick around next season for season 2 of
Jesus Christ. We're going to alienate all of our listeners. All of our listeners are going to be like,
used to me yelling at them by now.
They're going to be like, wait, if you were 8 when season 1 came out, then James was fucking like 11, which means that I was 2.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "What? That's so weird."
You're so
This
old.
episode
Ew.
came out in 2006. I was 8 years old.
Are
Actually,
you
this
guys
episode.
recording this from a nursing home?
Yes, we absolutely are. Are you kidding me? Of course.
We're too old to be on the internet.
We're too old to be on the internet. I also forgot to say this last time, but on last episode, Secrets and Lies, it aired on May 3rd. It aired on my birthday.
Your 8th
Yeah.
birthday?
On my 8th birthday, the gift that Criminal Minds gave to me was like a pretty middling okay episode.
Pretty fine, okay episode.
It was a fine episode.
When did this episode air?
This episode aired on May 10th of 2006.
One more clue, the book, I guess, Canterbury Tales. And then he says, I hope to see all of you soon. It would mean the end of the game, etc. JJ says, I'm going to go enhance the face, or get the footage to enhance the face, and then the hair goes out for DNA. Jason, like, leaves out of nowhere, and Hotch follows him, and Jason is like, Gideon is like, I have no safe space left. Like, the cabin was, like, the one place in the world where I could, like, turn my brain off and not feel like I had to, like, I didn't, like, hear children screaming. I didn't hear this and that. And now he's like, maybe I'm out of gas. And then he goes, I need some alone time, please. Haley's in the bureau with Jack. And Hotch is like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, you didn't answer your call. And he says his phone died. And he, like, hasn't had a second to sit down. A man brought a package to his house and gave it to Haley and was like, a girl's life depends on this. Get it to Hotch. So Haley comes. And it's like a young guy with dark hair. And the package, it's like, like, Haley's like, what the fuck is happening? And Hotch is like, he came to the house. So then, like, Haley and Jack, hold on a second. So the paper that they get is a bunch of numbers, and Rita's like, I think it's a coded message. Like, no, duh, douchebag.
No shit, Sherlock.
This guy wasn't just like, yeah, here's some numbers. Anyway, they figure out that they realize that, like, it's a book code. So, like, each, like, word is 3 numbers, and it's the page, the line, and the number, which also made me think that it's Canterbury Tales because those stories are the lines are numbered the same way Shakespeare is.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like poetry like that, you know? Okay. The DNA comes back. It's Rebecca Bryant. She's been missing for like 2 years. Missing out of Boston for 2 years. And Ella's like, 2 years? And JJ's just like, pins it up on the board. So then Jason is like, Hotch, we have to have Haley make a sketch. We got to do a report and send him this message that, like, we're not going to play his fucking game. And Hotch is like, are you sure? And Jason Gideon's like, yes. So he goes into the briefing room and he's like, JJ, get the news reporters here. Let's go. Come on. And JJ's just like, okay. So she does. And then you see, like, from the outside her giving this, like, press release. And Haley and the baby went to the hotel. I do like that Gideon goes, did Haley and the baby make it to the hotel? I was like,
the
Gideon,
baby, as though he doesn't have a name.
I was like, Gideon, do you not know Hotch's name is Jack? And no, or Hotch's baby's name is Jack? And like, no, of course he doesn't.
Of course he doesn't remember, actually. Now that we're thinking about it, yeah, of course not.
So now that cuts to JJ, and JJ is like, here's a sketch of the unsub, gives information about, like, how they got all the stuff, and how someone went to the door, etc. And then you hear the unsub being like, no, this isn't right. And he pushes the button again, and he's like, Rebecca, I've got to go again. I'll be right back. And then they start, like, listing all the clues they got, and they know it's medieval. They got the British. Oh no, I made a list of the clues.
You did.
I did. Lots of references to the Middle Ages knights. They have a butterfly that is indigenous to Europe, but mostly Britain. We have the card with the fox, which I put a question mark next to. I think that's going to be like a story from the Canterbury Tales, but I don't know what the exact reference for that is. And then there's a book of tales that inspired many stories like this one. So those are the clues that we have so far. Because Elle got arrested, but she didn't really get any, like, specific medieval clues.
She didn't get anything fun, which I think sucks.
Yeah.
She deserved some fun.
Well, Derek didn't get fucking anything at all. Oh, I want to add to my list of clues. Camelot game. Because that is...
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't, like, mention that already.
I know. I think
if there was a sword and your tech analyst was playing a game called Camelot, take a wild fucking guess. I wonder what this is referencing.
Oh, it might be the sword, or it might be 1963. Oh, maybe the card 1963 is going to be like the year of the edition of the book they need is going to be like the 1963 edition, and
Oh,
that's what the
you know
card
what? You're
is.
probably fucking right.
I just wrote that
I
down.
love how smart we are sometimes. We're idiots, but god damn it, we've got heart.
We got heart. Listen, I'm a research historian who had a medieval fixation as a child. This is my shit.
And I'm me.
Okay.
And I'm a lesbian.
Okay. So then Elle is like literally asleep on the couch, and Hotch is like, "I'll go home," and she like doesn't want to. She's like, "I'm fine," but she's like literally asleep. So she goes home with Anderson,
Anderson
and
takes her
then
home. Anderson, cute boy. Cute boy
boy.
Anderson.
Cute boy Anderson. And then Hotch goes to Gideon and is like, "By the way, I sent Elle home," and Gideon's like, "Good, that's good." Then the angsty rock starts playing. The first line is, "My soul is empty," and I was just like, "Yeah, all right, mine too." And then it shows the team, like all of them are like exhausted. There's like flashing all of the clues and stuff. And then Elle goes home. Okay, here we go. Here's the thing. Her windows are open.
I
She
noticed
went.
that too.
She went to Jamaica, planned to be in another country for 2 weeks, and her windows were open.
I think what they're trying to say there is that that's
how,
how he got in.
But he's injured. He's got a chronic like limp.
I know. I don't understand why her
Is
windows are open.
is
Unless
it
she
like
has like a house sitter hired. I just don't know.
it was like, was she just too tired? To notice? Like, did he open them? Like, did she leave them open while she went to another fucking? I literally was like, "Girl, why are your windows open?"
I thought about that too because it's right behind her in this scene.
Yes,
It's right behind her.
yes. So then he shows up and he's like pointing the gun and he's like, "You broke the rule. There's one rule and you broke it." Blah blah blah. She's like looking at her gun on the table, like looking up at him, and then she goes for the gun, and then it goes black, and there's a bang. Cliffhanger. Season 1 finale.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the season 1 finale. That's it. That's what Criminal Minds left you with for 4 fucking months while they went on the broadcast summer hiatus. That's what they left you with.
Yeah, I mean, damn.
What a weird episode.
Literally all set up. Every part of this episode is set up.
But there was a murder, but it didn't feel like a murder because nobody was like, "Aw, man, sucks this dude's dead," because he was a piece of shit. And so,
but the murder was a setup for like
the murder was also a setup.
They say it in the episode, like he only killed these guys to get our attention. So even like, yeah, like 2 people are dead, but like they're clues. You know?
It's just like so weird.
So weird.
Such a fucking.
I
don't want to be like it's a bad episode because it's a good setup episode. It's just like, why is this your season 1 finale?
If this had been the first half of an episode, I would be like, hell yeah. But the fact that this is a whole episode, cliffhanger.
And then the fact that they fucking cut a million times a minute.
Oh my god, it was so fast, and it was for what?
For what?
Like, for what?
You just fucked up your own pacing. Look what you've done. You fucked up your own pacing.
It made the long scenes feel very, very long. And the short scenes that were like 3 lines, it was like, why are you showing me this?
Why is this here?
It's like they wanted a montage, but they needed words to be said, so they just cut a million times.
It's like, I had to take a class on Russian montage theory in college, which is more interesting than it sounds. But this episode genuinely fucking reminded me of that because it's just like, and cut and cut and cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're trying to instill a third emotion in me. I understand. This emotion that you're instilling, though, is annoyance.
It's that's funny. It's kind of like, I don't know, they wanted it to feel like frantic, like a barrage of information, but everyone in this episode is exhausted. So it's like there's no like frenetic energy. It's just
It's just
like,
fucking weird.
yeah, it's like they could have, I mean, they could have done like, I feel like they should have chosen a side. Are we supposed to feel exhausted like the team does? Is it supposed to be hard to put this all together because everyone is like moving a little slow to begin with and like et cetera, et cetera? Or is it supposed to be like fast paced? Oh my god, there's so much information I can't parse, I can't sort through it, this and that and this and that. And it kind of settles in this middle ground where like it's edited like it's high pace, energetic, fast,
Action happening all the time.
Yeah, but then every scene where we see these characters, I mean, Ella's literally asleep in a scene. Like,
Yeah.
I get that we're like in a rush to find this guy, but also like everyone is yawning in every scene. Like, no one can think. Reed shows up to be like Golden Boy, has no idea what any of it means. It's just like so like, wait, why? Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd one.
It's a weird ep.
Yeah. Also, Gideon had like a date, and
And
they
it's never
never.
mentioned again.
And it's not the same woman who comes up late in the end of season 2. So like, who is this person? Like, was he gonna
Does
spend
Gideon
2 weeks?
fuck?
Was he gonna spend 2 weeks in the cabin in the woods, fucking? Like,
Yeah, I think the unfortunate thing here is that, yeah, I guess Gideon fucks.
also, can we talk about how like Hotch and Haley got laid together, Elle got laid, Derek got laid, Gideon would have gotten laid.
The
Reed,
only one who doesn't fuck is Spencer.
yeah, because we know
And honestly,
JJ and
as it should
Penelope
be.
each other.
Yeah,
They're like,
exactly.
JJ's like, hey, baby girl, I got this whole office to myself.
Come over.
Come over. I
Sends
can
a
talk
3
to you
a.m.
like that.
text you up.
JJ's like, hey, come
Hey,
take
you
care
up?
of your liege. Like, it's me, your sweet prince. I mean,
I just.
yeah.
What a weird episode. What a weird, bad episode.
The gay energy in this episode, the sexy energy in this episode, the sleepy energy in this episode. It's a lot.
It's a little bit like a college theater department in that way.
Sleepy, sexy, and gay.
Gay. Yeah.
Oh, that's me. I should get that tattoo. Sleepy, sexy, gay.
Sleepy, sexy, gay, beautiful, cover girl. Jay, scale of 1 to 10. What are you ranking this episode?
The last episode of season 1.
The last episode of season 1.
Well, they didn't say Wheels Up in all of season 1, so that makes me mad.
Yeah, I'm fucking sad. There's so many sad faces in that column on our spreadsheet. It's genuinely just sad faces.
Well, it'll change soon. Okay, let me think. I do love the sexy gay energy.
I love the I mean, like, I love the energy, but I think it's a very weird energy.
Okay, I like the gay sexy energy. I do kind of like the like puzzle they're setting up.
Yeah, I like the Fisher King story. I like the 2-episode arc that they have.
Yeah, and I like that we get some like, I mean, like, fuck Gideon, but like, oh, JJ collected butterflies as a girl, and like Spencer's
Gideon's a
mother
big fan of this
is-
one guy. Yeah.
like Reed's mother's schizophrenic. Like, I like that they gave us that. I like the Penelope Garcia scene, or Penelope Garcia, the JJ Penelope scene. I like the El Derek stuff. I'm gonna go with. You know what? I'm gonna give this episode like a 7.
A 7? Okay, that's a very respectable score, especially for season 1.
I feel like I've been giving them all 0s and 2s recently.
Yeah. So we gotta go back up. I think I'm with you. I think I'm gonna give it a 7. Which means, unfortunately, that this season finale is not the highest ranked episode. Like, it's not the highest ranking by far, because we both have given a few episodes 8s before. Mm-hmm. But I think this one doesn't deserve anything higher than above average.
I will say that, like, I would rewatch this episode with part 2, at the same time. I would. Like, I do Fisher King.
I think we're going to give really high rankings to part 2 when we get to it.
Yeah. You guys will start rating things much higher in season 2, I promise.
Yeah, it's just that, here's the thing. I think this episode is like a season 1 7, but it's probably like a season 2 or 3 5, maybe. Yeah. Like this is an above average ep for season 7, but that doesn't mean, or for season 1, sorry, but that doesn't mean it's like good.
Yeah. Real quick, average out the scores and see what season 1 gets.
Okay. Oh, that's not good. And even lower. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think we overall ranked season 1? If I average it out, what do you think all of us ranked season 1?
I think you gave season 1 like a 4 or 5 average.
Okay.
And I think I gave season 1 like a 3 maybe average.
My average for season 1 is a 4.6.
Okay, 4
Your
5%.
average for season 1 is a 4.3.
Oh!
We're closer than I thought we would be, honestly.
I know. You went in solidarity with me a lot.
Overall, season 1 for us is a 4.5.
Out of 10. Yeah. It's gonna end up being the lowest, other than season, 13, maybe.
I don't know as though it will. Yeah, it definitely will be. I just thought it'd be lower than 4.5.
Yeah, honestly. I'm really surprised. I thought it'd be like a 2.
Ah.
As a whole, I would rate season 1 as like a 2. Like, episode averages, some of the parts, I'd say it's a 2.
Yeah, and here's the thing, is there's some good episodes in season 1. We've both given a handful of 8s and 7s, which is the highest. The 8 is the highest we ranked anything this season. However, we also did give what I think is going to be I think it's going to be a season 1 special. I think we gave 2 zeros. I don't think either of us are going to give any other episode a 0 like we did the Tribe and Machismo.
In any other season?
I don't think we will.
No.
I think we'll go down to like a 1
a
few times, but I don't think we're not going to dip back into the well of 0.
Yeah.
So, that's it for season 1. Again, like I said, we are going to be going back and doing some bonus episodes. We will be putting all of the episodes into order of what the best episode of season 1 is to what the worst episode of season 1 is. We will be coming back to that. That's going to be in a few weeks on a bonus episode, as well as some other bonus content coming in the little break that we're going to have. We will be back. We'll let you guys know when we'll be back. Because honestly, right now, we're recording this way ahead of time. I don't know what day we're going to be back on. We will probably be back in November sometime. We'll just say that. Give me a line from this episode.
Oh, dang. I know.
You're gonna stop the fucking recording? You haven't given me a line yet, Jay. Listen. This time-honored tradition that we've done 22 times now, 21 times now, and you're gonna rob me of this simple pleasure right now, close to the finish line.
Oh, sorry. Here's one. Here we go.
Give me a quote.
Hey, B.
Yeah?
Don't tell me you have a crush on a fictional character.
So true. We'll be back for bonus episodes, including season 1 bonus episodes later. Until then, y'all have to write. What show am I on? Wheels Up.